Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
Okay, so write that down Wednesday here on Purple Daily, the only show in America, this and the OG edition on Mackie and Judd, our other podcast, one of our many podcasts, I guess, where we actually put statistics next to our predictions and hold each other accountable. None of this skirting away from being wrong. We are committing career suicide pretty much here every week. Judd, how are you today?
Oh, I'm fantastic. And clearly the bosses do not watch the show because the amount of time that this career suicide has been ongoing and allowed to continue in despicable fashion, to me signals that the bosses are not watching this show, which is that's their loss because they're missing something.
It is. It's quite the ordeal every Wednesday. So Declan has sent in predictions, and again, I have not, maybe to the show's demise, like I have not filtered these. He just sent in there's one shirtless from Hawaii. There's another one that's in the dark, it looks like.
Oh boy.
So he's got predictions from Hawaii. So we'll get to those and the accountability session. But let's first take the audience to Quick Trip here to start our day the right way.
I think that's a great idea because you know what? Quick Trip is a great way to start your day, or heck, on the way home from work to pick up, let's say, a snack, dinner, anything that you could possibly want. You know what Quick Trip has, because they are a grocery store with the convenience of a convenience store, and that is fantastic. The Kruba coffee right there. If the gas tank, it's that time of year, it's getting near E, that's not a good idea because it's winter. Guess what? Quick Trip is right there for you. And while you're at Quick Trip, breaking news. You can do some holiday shopping, folks. Wow. Holiday shopping at Quick Trip. Pick up a Quick Trip gift card in-store or online at quicktrip.com/gift cards. You know, problem with gifts, like let's say you're looking for a gift for Dad, right? Cliched gifts across the board, right? A tie or something I think he might like.
A tie?
You know what Dad wants?
Is this 1950?
You know what Dad wants? He wants a gift card to Quick Trip because it's going to make his life simpler. Give the gift of Quick Trip. Again, a gift card. You can pick them up quicktrip.com/gift cards or just go in the store. Pick it up.
We may have to workshop the marketing slogan of a Quick Trip gift card, better than a tie.
You know what, though? Kids, and I don't blame them, they struggle with what to get dear old Dad. Dads are hard to shop for because, first of all, dads ordinarily go out and buy what they want. And second of all, it's like they got to act like they like it because it's the kid, right? But I'm saying if you're an adult child, you know, you go to Dad, you're like, Quick Trip gift card. Dad's going to be like, oh, spot on.
Get me an egg salad sandwich from Quick Trip, and I'll be happy all week long.
Take it from Sports Dad. Take it from Sports Dad. Your real dad is going to really appreciate that.
So here's how Write That Down works if you're new. We've been doing this on Purple Daily for 4 years. The season runs from Super Bowl to Super Bowl, where we keep track of our predictions every season. The OG edition goes back 10 years on Mackie and Judd. 3 Vikings or football-related predictions from everybody each week. They must be quantifiable. We keep track of completion percentage and touchdowns. And if you want to participate as a guest listener predictor like Mike is about to, you can send Declan a message through the Score North app, and we'll get you scheduled. So let's start with the accountability here.
All right.
A lot of things came off the board because a lot of people made Kirk Cousins game predictions. So we'll start with Judd. You said the Ginkster, old Van Jinkles.
This is a bad beat. He had 2, and the second one was a pick 6.
Yeah, you said Andrew Van Ginkel will intercept a Kirk Cousins pass.
It's a terrible beat, and Cousins is the perfect quarterback for Van Jinkles.
The second one was the Rodgers play and the Daniel Jones play, where he just sniffs out that little.
But you know, Kirk puts that ball exactly where Van Ginkel can get it.
Yeah, he would have had literally the same pick 6 3 times this season. Same side of the field, same everything.
How far would that pick 6 have been though? The second one, I feel like that was right below me in the press box. So
it was on the Viking side of the field? I don't remember exactly.
That would have been a very long run. But you know what? Van Jinkles could have done it.
You said Harrison Smith will intercept Kirk Cousins during the Vikings-Falcons game. But you had some good stuff come off the board. You said Sam Darnold will have a completion of 40-plus yards. The reason this isn't a touchdown at this point in the season is because the Vikings are averaging just under 1 40-yard completion per game now. So it's like
I wasn't even going to contest it.
It's a good chunk completion for you, though.
Yep, it's a good prediction.
You said Aaron Jones would not fumble against the Falcons.
That's closer to a touchdown than the completion of 40-plus yards.
And then you said, this is a touchdown here, because you said this way back before he was struggling with interceptions. You said this back in March. Kirk Cousins will throw at least 2 picks against the Vikings in 2024. And he did.
Thank you, Kirk.
All right, over to me. 4 things came off the board. I said this is a bad beat for me too, because I said Van Ginkel will be involved in a defensive touchdown.
Yep.
Dropped a pick 6. I feel like this is kind of a bad beat too. I had a 3-item parlay where I said Kirk Cousins at least 1 pick, Aaron Jones no fumbles, and Jonathan Grenard, the NFL's pressures leader, would have at least 3 pressures. He had none.
Falcons' offensive line actually was a pretty good story on a positive side for them on Sunday.
Yeah, it was. The Vikings only had like maybe 6 pressures or something all game. It was not.
I'm willing to bet it was a season low for the Vikings.
But I did tell you that Justin Jefferson, after not scoring a touchdown for like 2 months, would have at least 2 touchdowns in this game against the Falcons. My guy, Justin Jefferson. And then the democratic process of Write That Down has spoken, with not only a Purple Daily listener lawyer chiming in, but also the vast majority of people in the comment section turning this around for me. I said Matt Eberflus will be fired the week after a Vikings-Bears game this season. And a couple things on this. So because other people were awarded a touchdown for the Bears firing a coach, period, during the season, because they've never done it in 100 years, and because this prediction was specific to 2 of the remaining 8 weeks before the end of the season, it also is a touchdown percentage-wise. So for the people arguing, and listen, I conceded initially, like, yeah, whatever, the spirit of it. But the spirit of the prediction is not as important as the language of the prediction, as the Purple Daily lawyers have pointed out. And I said he would be fired the week after a Vikings-Bears game. The implication was like a football week, but I did not specify a football week. I said a week, so I sort of backdoored into a touchdown here.
I just hope you sleep all night.
Listen, lawyers are going to rule how they're going to rule, or the judges or whatever.
You know, what was in your heart and what ends up on that screen right there are 2 very different things. But that's fine. Sleep tight. Oh my God.
Okay, the listeners had.
Don't even go through all these. Oh my God, it's terrible.
I won't buzz all. Like the buzzer will get obnoxious if I. But they had like 9 things come off the board here. So God. Matt said Vikings will play a thank you video for Kirk. They didn't, right?
No.
Okay.
No, they showed him on the scoreboard. He got his ass booed.
Exactly. That was the tribute, actually. And then he said the Vikings would clinch a playoff spot this weekend. McQueen said Vikings would win the next 3 home games, which they did, but he parlayed it with Aaron Jones will rush for at least 100 yards in one of those games. Which
we talked about that on Sunday. He lamented that on Ventline on Sunday.
Yep. Bad beat. Ron said when the Vikings play the Falcons, Dallas Turner will sack Kirk Cousins, and we will hear an immediate "you like that" in celebration. So he delivered the biggest hit on Kirk Cousins, but it was not a sack.
Yeah, that's a bad beat on the sack thing. You like that, I don't know, but the first part's a bad beat.
Alex Boone did a great breakdown on the Trenches episode, the film breakdown episode that went up this morning of that particular play, and just like the Falcons had a tight end coming around to block Dallas Turner, which bad idea, and he just disposed of that tight end. Sam said Dallas Turner will have a sack, TFL, strip sack, touchdown, etc. in the game, and at some point on the broadcast there'd be mention of the Falcons passing on him to draft Penix. Didn't hear any of that. Pete said Dallas Turner will have at least 7 sacks this season and at least 1 on Kirk. He did not sack Kirk. And Lee said Jonathan Grenard and Andrew Van Ginkel will each record a sack against Kirk Cousins when the Vikings play the Falcons. On the good side, Pete said the Vikings will have at least 3 2-possession wins in 2024 of 9 points or more. They actually have 4 now. And then McCade This is a touchdown here. He said the Vikings will beat the Falcons in their matchup. This is back when like the Falcons were projected to win 9 or 10 games over under Vikings 6.5.
Okay.
The Vikings would beat the Falcons in their matchup, and the Vikings will have a better regular season record than the Falcons, which mathematically is now the case. So they made up for a little bit. And then Declan said Jonathan Grenard will sack Kirk Cousins at least once on Sunday. Did not. He said, and this is a touchdown, the Vikings will have at least a 14-point lead against the Falcons at some point on Sunday. Nice job. An old Kirky boy would throw an interception before Sam Darnold does on Sunday.
Yeah, he did twice.
Still waiting on that Sam Darnold pick. And so on the season, Declan leading the completion percentage category, 40%, Judd 34.5%. I'm at 31%. Listeners 27.5%. Listeners lead with 12 touchdowns. Declan and Judd each with 11. I'm up from 2 to 5 touchdowns in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So at least we're
going deep,
making some noise there, but long way to go. And then career stats, Declan 37% completions, Judd 35%. I'm just below 33%. Listeners at 23.5%. Declan, 52 career touchdowns, leads everyone. I did collect my 50th career touchdown pass. Tied at 51 with the listeners. Judd with 44 career touchdowns. So those are the statistics. It's really career-wise, man. The touchdown battle is just rocking and rolling here. Three of us within.
I'm sort of in
one
the dust right now, though. I need to throw deep more. But then again, I'm actually still sniffing around in the stats, right? So
for the season,
in the
you're
completion
definitely
percentage
still,
as well. So
all right, let's get Mike in here, our guest listener predictor, making his debut here on Write That Down. Mike, what's going on, man?
Oh, not too much. How you guys doing?
doing great.
Good.
I love the hat. One, it's cool, but two, you got the brim right.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
None of that straight crap.
So you like to really get in there and did you put a rubber band around, or how did we get it to be bent like that?
Just bend it as much as I can, riding down the road like this to get it like that. And then I don't know if you can see it here, but I learned this from my dad, the little wear and tear. He takes sandpaper to his hats. I let it happen naturally.
Okay.
And this has been about a 5-year-old hat. I lost the original version of it in Minneapolis before COVID. And so this one's about 5 years old now.
All right. That's awesome.
Judd, you got to start doing the little ridge.
I didn't even know about that.
Or the ripped kind of thing.
I didn't know about that.
Do you ever do the picture with the pine tar thumb stain?
No, I stay away. I stay away.
Put some Vaseline on the hat, so
let it happen naturally. Sweat in it, wear it to work out. Sweat in it. And
you never know when you're at the gym or at the gas station when you need a little pine tar to get a little grip on. You
might have to throw a curveball. You might have to get a little bit of torque on the ball. You never know what's going to happen.
So, Mike, before we get to predictions, give us your backstory as a Vikings fan and tell us a little bit about yourself and your fandom.
The backstory, I've got to reach back all the way to the mid to late 60s to really kind of give you this, and I'll make it quick, but a little town in Virginia, like I said on Vitline a few weeks ago, I'm one of those Virginia Vikings fans you guys always talk about. If any of my friends that I've met in Minnesota over the years are listening, this is Mike from Virginia that you know. So reaching back to about the late 60s in a little town in Virginia called Colonial Heights, and a guy named David Goad, my father, was playing for a team called the Raiders at about 7 or 8 years old. Well, too many kids signed up for football that year, so they had to create an expansion team, and David Goad got shipped to not the Minnesota Vikings, but the Little League Vikings team in Colonial Heights, Virginia, and that was the height of the Vikings doing some good things and going to Super Bowls, which I've never seen, and so they were on TV all the time. You didn't have YouTube TV or a Sunday Ticket, and so they were on TV a lot, and my dad played for the Vikings, and my dad became a diehard Vikings fan, and fast forward to 91, I'm born. Kind of grow up. It was the Dallas Cowboys area. So I kind of was like Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, loved these guys. Had a little Dallas Cowboy hanger in my room, plastic hanger in my room. And all credit to my dad. He never tried to fight me on it. And then 1998 happened. That same year, my dad decided to stop going. And I say this endearingly. He wasn't like a drunk that went to the bar all the time. But my dad stopped going to the Vikings bar in town to watch the game, bought the Sunday ticket, put up the old satellite, DirecTV satellite, bought the Sunday ticket, 1998. So I start watching the games at home with dad. And week 1, Tampa Bay, Randy Moss, like, who is this cat? And then I ended up that year crying on the couch after Gary Anderson's field goal. And I was 7 years old, and I'm 33 now. And here I am 25 later and 25 years later. And my dad, before we even knew anything about 1500 ESPN or Purple Daily, I'll send you guys a picture after the show. But my dad's got a Virginia license plate. I don't know if you can do this in Minnesota, but you can customize them in Virginia. It says the number 1 before I die. And has a Viking
awesome.
sticker on the back. Yeah. So we're diehard, and that's kind of the backstory there.
Great story.
Love that. By the way, you sold your Dallas Cowboys fan stock at a great time. Like just get out in like the late 90s, just get out. Not that the Viking stock has gone up a whole lot since 98. It's kind of flat, but the Cowboys stock has definitely tanked in the last 25 years.
Yeah, especially with that 2009 divisional game. I'm glad I was on the right side of that one.
Yep.
So at 7 years old, when the Vikings lose in devastating fashion to the Falcons, and it was a fun year, it was a great year, right? But at what point in time, as you're crying, do you decide, you know what, I'm going to stick with this team? Because it would have been easy to like pivot off of them at that point, been like, screw this. This is clearly heartbreak. What made you stick with the team not being in this state?
The young, naive mind, and you guys have talked about it a lot when you get into these conversations about the 98 fans being spoiled, the 2017 or the 2019 fans that came up during those times being spoiled. I just thought that Randy Moss and Randall Cunningham and 15-1 was something that happened every year, and we'd bounce back next year and be in the Super Bowl and win it. I mean,
Me too.
That's just what I thought. And by the time, my prefrontal cortex got fully developed and I was able to understand how things worked, I realized that 1998 was something that happens once every 10 years. Hopefully we're in that window now. I thought it was easy. We have Randy Moss. We have Randall Cunningham. I'm 7 years old and I've watched them throw bombs and just destroy the NFL all year. It's going to be okay.
Yeah, I was the same way. The same way. It was like, okay, that's devastating, but they'll just come right back. They're going to have this is their offense now. This is what the offense is going to be for like the next 10 years. And when you look back, at least 98, 2009, 2017, those were all like take advantage of the current moment teams that didn't. Yeah. You're never really, unless you have like Patrick Mahomes or that 10-year quarterback. I mean, like the Bengals might have to fire a coach, but they're going to be relevant for 10 years with Joe Burrow. 2009, that was your window. 2017, best defense in the league, that was your window. So that's the best thing about this year's team, I feel like, is they are opening up a window of competitiveness with Kevin O'Connell and if J.J. McCarthy steps in, but so let's do this. Let's get to predictions. We'll start with Mike over to Judd and then Declan via satellite on his honeymoon, and then I will round it out. We'll make 3 trips around the room here, boys. 1 prediction from each of us each trip.
Write this down.
Mike, you're under center. Go ahead, man.
All righty. So I got a little stats to preface with this one. So Kirk Cousins threw for 35 touchdown passes in 2020. That was his most during a single season with the Vikings and second all-time in franchise history on that stat line. Sam Darnold currently has 28 passes through 13 games, which if you do the math there, it's save a few decimal points, about 2.15 touchdown passes per game pace to date. If we take that and multiply it by the 4 games left, that puts Sam Darnold at about 36.5 touchdown passes by the end of the year. So write this down. Sam Darnold will finish the regular season with at least 36 touchdown passes, surpassing Kirk Cousins' best single season total with the Vikings and moving Sam Darnold into second place in team history for that single season statistic. I really wanted to do Dante Culpepper's 39, but a little bit of a stretch there.
That was more math than this show allows, Bob.
Get me to do a pie chart. I'll get it right.
If Declan was here, his head would have just popped off. Like literally just popped off. That would be it.
By the way, I'm going to do a terrible thing because I don't know if I can like fly the plane and do my own predictions and host and also log the predictions. So I'm going to either have Declan or AJ or Ross go back through
this
and gather these later for our
and I can send
database.
Mine in. So
okay, that would be easy
if that helps.
Hell, maybe Mike can email his in and then we can all just have.
Too easy.
That'd be great.
I got him up on a Word doc anyways. I'll send them.
Awesome.
Perfect. Okay, Judd.
Write this down.
Your first prediction.
All right. I also have a Sam Darnold prediction, and it is this.
Yes, you're going to steal mine again. You did this twice last week.
I might, because it was very weird last week. Because the Jones one wasn't weird. The Van Ginkel one was. I thought like that was not that. I didn't think that was that obvious or jumped off the page. But anyway, I might steal yours again, Phil. Sam Darnold's next contract will exceed Baker Mayfield's when it comes to guaranteed money. Now, just for the context, according to the Over the Cap website, Mayfield's got a 3-year, $100 million contract that he signed last March with the Bucks, $50 million in guarantees. So Sam Darnold will get more than $50 million in guarantees on his next contract.
Yep. That wasn't that you didn't steal.
Well, I wouldn't have stolen anyway. You would have just copied me, and I would have accused you of copying if that had happened.
I do have a contractual one that is kind of. We'll see if we unleash it today or not. But
Write this down.
Okay, let's. Oh boy, let's see here.
I hope he has pants on.
Okay, again, all I see is the thumbnail here. It's prediction number 1 from old Dex tweets. There's a mustache. I don't know if he's wearing a shirt, but let's go via satellite to the honeymooning Declan Goff for his first prediction.
Hi, friends. It's Dex Tweets here. I'm live from a sauna in the Westin Maui Spa. I had a beautiful 90-minute massage. Dex Tweets is very relaxed right now. He's very focused. Feels very content. And I want to write this one down for my first one here on Purple Daily. The Vikings will have the number 1 seed in the NFC. So by the time the playoffs start, the Vikings won't be a wild card team. They'll have the number 1 seed. They will have a bye. They'll need a little bit of help. Beating Detroit will obviously be a part of this, most likely scenario. But write it down. Vikings have the number 1 seed.
Wow.
Well, he put him on a Super Bowl in his hottest takes, right? On Monday.
Yeah,
he said they're going to win the Super Bowl.
He's feeling good about this team. He's not. This is about as happy as I've ever seen him.
He hasn't been sober in like 4 days.
I mean, it was a 90-minute massage. That was the first time he's ever gotten a massage too. I feel like jumping in 90 minutes first time. That's a session, man. So okay, all right. I see. I see where he's coming from. All right, write this down.
Write this down.
The Vikings will franchise tag Sam Darnold. They will franchise tag Sam Darnold. $41 million tag. You could trade him, or you do have the cap space if you wanted to just run it back for $41 million, and it would limit your ability to add other players. But however they decide to proceed after that is up in the air, but they will not just let him walk after unless he completely goes like Jet Sam Darnold in the last month of the season, which he kind of did against the Jaguars. It's long time since that Jaguars game. They will franchise Sam Darnold.
Write this down.
I still want to know if it's in his contract that they can't. That's my only question.
Does he have like that kind of?
Well, when you sign a contract that cheap, that's my thing. It's almost like, okay, if I play well, I don't want you guys to franchise me. Like if it was it's such a reasonable contract, right? Like it's a backup contract.
But so that's what he was. Like he was a broken backup quarterback when they brought him in.
But I just wonder if they said we'll sign a contract that is beyond team friendly, probably. But you can't franchise me. Perhaps they didn't. It's the only question that I've got, because if you do go through the best case, which this clearly is to date, because now if you get franchised, you could be traded. I guess you could do an extension elsewhere. It makes it a little more hinky. It's not going to kill him. So.
Well, maybe somebody will dig up those contractual details here in the next couple months. Okay,
over Monday night's game.
That would be nice. Okay, back to Mike here for your
Write this down.
second prediction.
So, Phil, I'm kind of glad I didn't take I asked my dad if he had one that he wanted me to throw in here, and he sent me we actually worked together, and he called me yesterday on the office phone and said, hey, here's one I'd like. He's like, totally not going to hurt my feelings if you don't use it. And I thought, I don't know. I was like, I can't see that happening. Anyways, his prediction was that Darnold would be back on the Vikings next year, or that they would re-sign him to some form of contract. So I'm glad I didn't do that, or else I'm not sure I would have been able to use that after that prediction. But my second prediction, if you were tracking my math in the first prediction, help you guys out a little bit. Darnold will need at least 8 more touchdown passes over the next 4 games for my first prediction to come true. I'm making it clear this is not a parlay. This is a preface.
Okay.
I think Darnold puts a decent dent on that this upcoming Monday night against the Bears. So write this down. Sam Darnold will throw at least 2 touchdown passes against the Bears Monday night. At least one of which will be to TJ Hawkinson for his first touchdown of the season.
Oh, okay. A little parlay. So at least 2 touchdowns and at least one of them to.
It is a parlay in that sense, but not a parlay of he has to have those 8 to pass Kirk to get to the 36, and then 2.
Yep. I got
Yep.
you.
We'll draw that separate.
Write this down.
That separate line. Okay, back to Judd for your second prediction.
All right. So the Falcons continue to say, Raheem Morris continues to say, Kirk is our quarterback. Kirk is our quarterback. And I'm not buying what he is selling. What is it? Last 4 games, something like 8 picks and no touchdowns. It's a ridiculous stretch.
And the Falcons social media team put out the big ode, like all the Vikings players coming up to him after the game and thanking him for being in their lives and stuff.
And he looked so miserable. So write this down. Michael Penix Jr. will start a game for the Falcons before the season is finished. Michael Penix Jr. is going to start. Their opponents are the Raiders. In fact, they kick off at 7:30 Central Time on Monday. The Vikings and Bears kick off at 7. Giants, Commanders, and Panthers. Michael Penix Jr. will start a game before the
If
Falcons
he starts to
season
kind
is
of,
over.
but doesn't it feel like you've seen enough Kirk in your life? I think they beat the Raiders. Because now it's like, everyone. They're like, they lost the division lead. Everyone's written them off. And so now they can kind of sneak under the radar, just beat a couple bad teams, get back above 500, and then that Commanders game. And he's definitely going to start the Commanders game unless things go haywire. I think week 18 is your target for that, or an injury.
The only thing that threw me a little bit from the Kirk standpoint is what we saw on Sunday. It wasn't like the first drive is exactly what I expected, right? Falcons come out, look good. Kirk scripted plays is going great. But that game did not live up to the script that has been written in my mind for Kirk. Like the Metellus pick was a terrible pass by Kirk. And ordinary, just there's something off. I think the fact that he's trying to play and he cannot use his plant foot is a huge problem.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to the islands here. Let's go back to Hawaii, to Maui, where old Dex Tweets has his second prediction from his honeymoon via satellite.
All right, write this down. Write that down, too. Look at that rainbow. That big old rainbow behind me here, okay? Vikings beat the Bears by at least 10 points. I hope the wind didn't destroy that amazing take. Vikings beat the Bears on Monday Night Football by at least 10 points.
Kelsey
Dude,
just giggling in the background.
For the audio audience, he's literally standing on some like Maui mountaintop, a rainbow in the sky, just loving life.
Mm-hmm.
Wife giggling in the background.
Gorgeous background, gorgeous backdrop.
It was. That looked like a green screen almost. Almost looked kind of fake. Okay, I'm going to one-up him.
Okay.
Write this down. So he says they're going to win by at least 10.
Write this down.
Well, I don't know if this is one-upping, but the Vikings will lead the Bears by at least 20 points at some point in this game. I don't know, man. Like Vikings-Bears games can get kind of weird sometimes.
Yeah,
but
that's a home run right there, or a touchdown right there.
This does not feel like that. I mean, the Bears are short-staffed.
Yeah, you're right.
They can see the finish line of the season. Caleb Williams is seeing ghosts. He's being sacked 7 times a game. It seems like it's going to be loud. It's US Bank Stadium. I don't know. I'm not really feeling the Bears here in December. So Vikings will lead that game by at least 20 points at some point.
I don't disagree, but it just Mike, go ahead.
I was going to say, just remember, Judd predicted that off the record that the Vikings would lose this game a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
You think? Well, you had them winning 2 of the 3 home games on this stretch, and so you're kind of like rooting for them to lose now.
No, I would never say that. I would never say that. But the weird thing though is these Bears games are always odd. Now I will say if Caleb Williams has shown me enough that he could play a good game, but yeah, it feels like the Bears. The effort that they put forth on last Sunday was a total just cashed in effort. So.
Anytime your pass game coordinator from the beginning of the season is your head coach, like because 2 guys get fired, there's too much stuff, but there's work to be done that like people aren't doing behind the scenes because they're firing people left and right. So
root for the biggest thing with the Bears into the future is root for Kevin Warren to be there as long as possible because I think he's way more of a problem than Ryan Poles is.
Yep. Yeah, that's interesting structure they got going on there.
Write this down.
All right, back to Mike for your third and final prediction. Mike in Virginia.
All right, so it can be a show related prediction, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, so I'm not going to ask you guys to take your headphones off for this one because it's a little bit more of a call to action than anything. And if it can't count as a prediction, I got a simple backup prediction that I can throw in here. All right.
Okay.
So Purple Daily claims to be the most fan-friendly show, sports show in America, and they are. I truly believe that, especially when it comes to Vikings podcasts. Sometimes I run out of Purple Daily to listen to and have to go other ways. So, however, there is one thing they could be doing to further separate themselves from the competition, and that's finally finding a way to make the listeners part of the quarterback cesspool challenge.
Okay.
We're already here for Write That Down. And we're already on the line. I realize there could be some problems, maybe week to week. Listeners aren't keeping up with who the guy predicted the week before. But I think you guys are smart enough to get this done. I know you guys are passionate and fan friendly enough to get this done. So write this down before the 2025 regular season. The most fan-friendly show in all of sports entertainment will find a way to make the listeners part of the quarterback cesspool challenge. Maybe this is a trial run in the 2024 playoff edition. Maybe this is finding a way to get the listeners or a listener involved for the 2025 regular season. I don't know what it is, but I know that my favorite sports podcast can get this done.
You know, Mike, I love this. And you're not the first person who there's a lot. I think this is like one of the biggest requests, I feel like, in terms of listener involvement. And I do think you're right. We should find a way, if we don't trial run it during the playoffs, and there will be a playoff edition, we should just find a way to make it work. You kind of nailed the logistical issues, which is we all have, like, we're following the sort of elimination pool nature of it, and somebody jumps in and, hey, it's week 14 and you got to pick a quarterback. So I think it'll involve just like us sending whoever's going to join us the next day some prep that they can dig into, or some options or something. But yeah, it would be fun if we could include, and also it would make it even just kind of more wild, because now you'd have 4 different quarterbacks every week, and
right. You don't want to have too
draft would
many,
be
but
tougher.
four's
Right, 4's fine.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, it would be wild if you had like 10 every week. It was like it was like a fantasy league or something, and you're
Pat
now
Mahomes.
You're the 10th pick that week, and yeah, you're drafting like, I don't know, Mahomes looks pretty
Josh
rickety.
Allen, I think he's gonna have a terrible game.
He's facing the Steelers. I don't know. So love it, man. Mike, great stuff here. Since you've got this life-changing platform right now on Purple Daily, is there anyone in your life you'd like to thank that helped you get to this moment?
Well, I want to thank, obviously, I preface this a little bit in the beginning comments. Getting me here, I obviously need to thank, or I don't know if it's maybe curse my dad for bringing me into this mess in 1998. And again, not really forcing his hand, kind of letting me come into it on my own. And it's been something that has bonded us as I've grown up. We've been to Minneapolis several times together, and it's a special thing. My dad and I were always close, but this is kind of that cherry on top that's always kept us very, very close. And it's something very special to us. And I can truly say that I don't care if they get one before I die, but I would like to, and I guess this would happen anyways, but I'd like for them to get one before he dies, just so that's something that he can experience. He's 66 years old and has been through all 4 Super Bowl losses, all the heartbreaking NFC Championship losses. And so I want to thank my dad for getting me here and keeping me here, but I also want to thank my wife, Kate, for keeping me here. She has been great. Sundays generally at 1:00 Eastern time are pretty much, I don't want to say non-negotiable, but she's never fought me on it. And I always am able to step away and do, if I want to go to a bar and have a few drinks and watch the game, I'm able to do that. If I want to sit at home in my own room and not be bothered, and I do that. And sometimes she watches it with me if it's going halfway decent. But first and foremost, obviously my dad, but obviously my wife for helping me keep it going into adulthood. So
love it, man. Mike, awesome stuff. Let's definitely do it again sometime.
Yes, sir.
And
thank you guys for having me.
I think we should make a note that if we do incorporate listeners, we got to get Mike in for maybe week 1 of the Quarterback Cesspool Challenge 2025. That'd be cool.
Love it, guys. Thank you.
All right, Mike, great
Take
stuff. Care. Guest listener predictor, Mike from Virginia. Before we make our final predictions and see if Declan's wearing a shirt in his third and final prediction,
He won't be.
in Maui.
He's
Nicolay Law. I know Russell Nicolay is wearing a shirt in the video that I'm about to play you here on the YouTube channel, because he's very professional in that way. Wearing a suit and tie here. More of a t-shirt jeans guy when it comes down to it. But either way, Nicolay Law, the exclusive personal injury law firm of Purple Daily, here to make sure that when you or a loved one gets injured and ordinary life can get complicated, they step in, help you out, and make sure that you get the compensation you deserve after an accident. So if you've been injured, get Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers. Get Nicolay. That's nicolaylaw.com or 1-855-NICOLAY. 1-855-NICOLAY. On Prize Picks right now, so I mentioned this yesterday, but they'll do this once in a while where they'll just like give you a free square. And this week, it's Patrick Mahomes against Cleveland. And I'll just kind of hold this up so you can see it. It's 0.5 passing yards. You select more on 0.5 passing yards for, I don't know, like the greatest quarterback of all time. You can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You select between 2 and 6 players, and you pick more or less on their projected stats, and you place your entry. Super easy. It's a great time. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code PURPLEDAILY to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's code PURPLEDAILY on Prize Picks to win $50 instantly when you play just $5. So, Judd, we'll go to you first, then we'll go back to Maui. What is your third and final prediction?
I predict chaos for Sunday. Of course, the Vikings don't play, but it's a great red zone day, and I think there's going to be chaos, namely in the National Football Conference.
Ooh. Oh.
So write this down. The Steelers will put an end to the Eagles' 9-game winning streak on Sunday, and the Bills will beat the Lions on Sunday.
Ooh, yeah, I like that.
So
I like that.
That's if it all comes to fruition, obviously a touchdown pass. But we got some big games here. The Vikings will be at home enjoying a rare Sunday off, and they will be positioned by the time their game rolls around on Monday night. They will be in a really, really advantageous position. Now, the Bills do have to go into Detroit and win, but the thing about that is the Bills are coming off a tough loss. You know, Josh Allen was phenomenal, 6 combined touchdowns. So I think the Bills are going to want a pound of flesh. The Lions, this defensive thing has to catch up to them at some point. I mean, and Josh Allen is not the guy to be incredibly shorthanded against. And then, as we talked about in doing the pigskin pecking order yesterday, the vibe around the Eagles is just way off.
It is. I could see them using it and rallying if Nick Sirianni leverages it the right way behind the scenes.
But Mike Tomlin, that's what I like Pittsburgh for, though. I think Mike Tomlin will out-leverage Sirianni in the leverage game. But yes, if the Eagles were playing a team that I didn't respect, I think they'd win.
Yeah. So that's a touchdown because you're predicting 2 road upsets there. I think 2.5. The Lions are 2.5, and the Eagles are 5-point favorites right now. Let's go back to the beaches or the mountains of Maui here, where old Dex Tweets has his third prediction from honeymoon.
All right, last, write that down. Sponsored by my friends at Underdog. 50% deposit match for first-time users. Promo code SCORE gets you that deposit match. Slinging Sammy continues it against the Bears. At least 3 touchdowns. Sam Darnold accounts for at least 3 touchdowns against Chicago Bears. Write it down.
Look at that beautiful. It's very windy, by the way, in Hawaii.
That's a lot of wind there. Like, is that a continual thing there, or is that just based on now? Is that based on time of day?
By the ocean all the time, so it's pretty much just windy a lot.
The ocean makes me tired. Like the wind, it makes you tired. It saps your strength.
Like being near the ocean makes you tired, or
like a day on the beach. Like if you go in Florida, right, and you sit by the ocean and it's windy like that, I end up exhausted.
I think it's more the sun that makes you exhausted more than the wind.
I don't know what it is. It might be that too. I feel like wind makes me tired. Last week, I'm not joking. Last week, that day when it was I think it was a week ago, it was windy as hell. It was just like all day. The wind was whipping and whipping and whipping. And I was inside. I wasn't even outside. It made me tired. It makes me tired.
So just like it being windy outside.
Yes, I think it
and you being on your couch.
I think it saps
makes
my
you
strength.
Tired. Okay.
Like it's like this. Like if the sun is out, you're invigorated, right? If it's cloudy out, you're sort of like, yeah, I'm a little bit tired. But when the wind is whipping and it's cloudy out, I got no chance.
Wow,
Got to take a long nap.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing,
Perhaps
but
a
I guess like
doctor can
walking
analyze
around, it's
this.
harder to walk around because it's windy and there's resistance, and maybe that's
I just feel like there's a
part of it.
mental thing there. So, in short, out on the ocean, Hawaii out as well.
Write this down.
All right. Write this down. I think Josh Allen is going to be, I don't think I've made this prediction yet. Josh Allen will be the NFL MVP. Josh Allen, NFL MVP. I'm gonna stake my claim. Yeah, I've not made that prediction yet. Although Sam Darnold's closing in fast. If Josh Allen has a clunker or something against the Lions, let's say that happens,
Wow.
and Sam Darnold throws 4 more touchdown passes. Super interesting.
I got bad news for you. Because of who they play for, if Josh Allen falls off, it's going to be Saquon.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
He's
And you know
gonna-
what? If he breaks the rushing record,
He's going to beat
okay.
Dickerson's record. Now he's going to do it in one more game, right? So it is going to be, but then again, when the record was broken by Dickerson in the 80s, he did it in 2 more games than O.J. Simpson did in the 70s.
Yeah. Well, that's how sports work. Like you add games.
No,
and,
but I'm
you know,
saying like it is a contextual thing of what, you know. But anyway, I think Saquon's going to get it. It's Philadelphia. You know, there's going to be unfortunately there are some things that are true about us, and the flyover nature of like how people respond here. Like Phil, it took until Sunday for ESPN to start to actually take the Vikings seriously.
I know, which is whatever. That's fine.
Oh, right, but I'm just saying, like, that is a reflection, sort of how the national media works their way to us, I think.
But Buffalo is smaller. I know they're more relevant because they've been like competing
Right.
with the Chiefs and stuff.
Right.
But it does. I don't buy in. I think the Vikings, you have to earn it by sustaining your spot, and the Bills have kind of done that. It has nothing to do with where the Green Bay Packers have been.
Well, but that's
a media darling over time. The Buffalo Bills, Kansas City.
So, but that's on. It's in my opinion, that's on your quarterback's name.
Correct. That's 100%.
But I'm saying as far as the team goes itself, like the Vikings have been, for a team that's won 11 games. It feels like ESPN just caught up to them. And I was thinking about this last night, and I'm like, I get it totally. They were a week away from doing Vikings Bears. Which, by the way, is the first Monday night game that the Vikings have been on. Like that whole thing with Darnold and Schefter and all that was so calculated. And I'm not surprised. I'm not even criticizing him. But that was so calculated. 1, it's Cousins versus Sammy D. And 2, it's like we're a week away from the Bears and Vikings. Let's sell that. And it's really hard to sell the Chicago Bears right now.
Yeah, no, it's a big market. So if they can get people even sort of interested. All right, we got to do a quarterback cesspool challenge here before where we look to identify the worst quarterback play in the NFL every single week. So here's how it works. Each member of the show drafts a quarterback that we think is going to be terrible this upcoming weekend. On the season, it's like a survivor pool. You can only use a quarterback once. Once you've used that quarterback, you are no longer allowed to use him again. The 3 of us have to draft different quarterbacks each week as well. And the scoring is very simple. It's just lowest QBR on a 0 to 100 scale. So last week, Judd continued his hot stretch with Will Levis, who had the worst QBR of any of the 3 quarterbacks we chose, 20.6. Mac Jones is who I chose. They played each other in one of the worst aesthetic football games of the entire year. Mac Jones had a 32.9 QBR.
Oh no, Declan.
You know what? I didn't want to say anything in the moment because, you know, if a guy is going to make a bad pick, he's going to make a bad pick. It's all part of the game. But he jumped on the Bryce Young wagon.
Too
like
late.
Bryce Young's been awesome the last month.
Too late, yeah.
And Bryce Young posted an 85.8 QBR.
I'm glad
to
you said
sting
nothing.
Declan.
I'm glad you said nothing.
Yeah, so that's a rough one. So with that, and by the way, Aiden O'Connell with an 8.2 QBR was the worst quarterback in the NFL in Week 14. So with that, Judd now 7 wins on the season for the weekly contest. I have 4, Declan has 3, but for the season long, Judd also has a lead, 39 average QBR. I'm at 42.2, so I'm right there. Declan above average, which is not good for this game, 53.5
Defending
average
champion.
QBR.
Declan Goff.
Yes, he did win last year. So Declan, we told him you can just, because he's not even probably awake for like 3 more hours with the time difference. So we actually said, regardless of how the week played out, which we hadn't tallied up the standings, that you can get the first overall pick. Well, he gets the first overall pick anyways, and he chooses Caleb Williams against the Vikings. Okay. So he has not deployed Caleb Williams yet, which means I get the second pick here.
Everybody hold your water.
You would not have taken Caleb, in my opinion.
It's close. It's close, but I feel like I used him in week 3, so I couldn't have used him anyways. I'm going to go. I got those Giants quarterbacks. I suppose you could take Drew Lock. You've used Tommy DeVito.
Yeah. I might not risk that, to be honest with you, myself, because of what I've done.
I'm going to go Spencer Rattler against the Commanders.
Okay.
Spencer Rattler starting for the New Orleans Saints.
Yep.
He's young, he's inexperienced, and I don't know.
And he's backed up by a guy named Jake Horner, who, if you get him, you'll be equally as happy.
Yeah. And that's the rule. If the quarterback you choose doesn't play, then you get the backup quarterback. If you've used the backup quarterback, you default to a 75 QBR. So, all right, that puts Judd on the clock here. By the way, you have won 4 of the last 5 weeks here, with your winning quarterbacks being Cooper Rush, Tommy DeVito, Brock Purdy, and Will Levis. So you're on quite the heater right now.
I'd like to thank the committee for that. Okay, so I looked. I believe I have, if my own tracking is correct, I have not used either of these guys. So I am going to go with Aiden O'Connell versus the Falcons.
Okay.
He is banged up. He wants to start. If he does not start, it will go to Desmond Ridder.
Oof.
And I was shocked. It looks like I have not used either of those guys. So
nope.
Worst case, if it goes to Desmond, I am still insulated. Monday night against the Falcons.
Aiden O'Connell, I used him 3 weeks ago, and he was the second best performing quarterback I've used all year. So,
well, if he plays, he's hurt now. And I do not wish an injury on people. That's not nice. But I'm fairly confident that he will be not his usual outstanding self if he tries to play.
So, all right, Judd, Aiden O'Connell. I take Spencer Rattler and Declan with Caleb Williams Monday night against Brian Flores' defense. That's your quarterback cesspool challenge. You write that down, predictions here. Great stuff. We still have, so Trenches with Boone is up. Just a great dissection of some of those key plays offensively and defensively from the Vikings blowout win against the Falcons. It's Thursday tomorrow. This is Purple Daily, where we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.